All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel, and Merry Christmas to everyone out there. Happy holidays to everyone out there as well. We got some Christmas NBA action to dive into in today's video. 5 games. I'm going to dive into each and every one of those games. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays, like player props that we like within the game as well. But keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself if that does interest you. But guys, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Very, very thankful for the position and the seat that I am in right now. I tell you guys all the time, I don't take any of this for granted, and when the holidays roll around, it just gives us another time to kind of stop, smell the roses, reflect, and these roses smell pretty damn good. And everybody out there has a good smelling rose in their life. Even if you think you're down in your luck or anything like that, I've said it in a few videos recently, right? You got a good smelling rose, just find that rose and sniff away. I didn't know if this is going to get weird, but sniff away on that rose, guys. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Hopefully everyone has some great times with friends, family, loved ones, all that type of stuff. But let's go ahead and dive into some NBA action. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's rock. So, in terms of how we did on Monday, we didn't have any games on Tuesday, and if you're watching this right when it comes out, it is Christmas Eve. We're posting this the night before, but we had a nice little 4-2 night. We'll take the Christmas cha-ching there on Monday. Hornets team total under, that cashes. Clippers, Grizzlies, that cashes. And then the Timberwolves and the Hawks, this is the one that I'm a little salty about. They finish at 221. We lost on the hook. Deuce McBride came through for us early. Vucevic hit in like the first 5 minutes of the game. Karl Anthony Towns went like 1 of 3 from 3. He had a very good game, but didn't shoot that many. So unfortunately, that one doesn't hit. But overall, a very good Monday in what we're building towards a very good NBA season. Up about 5 units at this point. We've had our ups and downs, but at least we're hovering right at a positive number right now. In terms of the ride of the day, unfortunately, now I'm not going to drop the womp womp. That is the Christmas spirit in me, but unfortunately, the ride of the day does not come through in this one, coming in from my man Jeremy. Had Obi Toppin over 10.5 points. He finished with 8 points against the Warriors. 18 minutes. I feel like we thought we'd get a few more minutes and stuff like that, but only 18 minutes from him. So, 8 points in 18 minutes. If he played a little bit more, maybe a couple more buckets fall. But unfortunately, the ride of the day does not cash. Now, go ahead and drop your ride of the days in the comments. If you guys don't know what it is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments, or ROTD. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. Get those ride of the days down there. I'll try to jump on. I am going to be traveling and doing a bunch of stuff. So if we don't jump in and get to a ride of the day, that's the reason why. You know what I mean? It's not because we completely neglected it. It's that this is a pretty dang busy time of year. So still, even if we don't ride with anyone, guys, those ride of the days in the comments help tons of people out. There's so many people in the comment section that are a lot smarter, sharper, and throwing out bangers in there. Smarter and sharper than me, and throwing out some winners in the comments. So go ahead and leave your ride of the days in the comments. But what do you say we dive into game number 1? Like I said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Merry Christmas. Let's rock here. We got the Knicks taking on the Spurs. So right now, Knicks sitting at 9-point favorites at home. Total sitting at 224. I do think these numbers make sense. In fact, with the total, I could go either way. I almost want to lean towards an under in this spot just because both teams like to score in the paint. And we actually have 2 decent paint defenses here. So I think that's my first lean. But like I said, these numbers make sense to me. So I think that is set pretty accurately. So I don't know how confident I am in and under, but that is going to be the lean solely because of the paint points. In terms of where I come out on the spread side of things, I'm going to lean towards the Knicks. Yes, 9 points is a lot, and yes, San Antonio might show up and whatnot for Christmas, but overall, this Knicks team is just rolling. I've said it multiple times, right? They're 8-2 in their last 10, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10. At home this year, they've covered in 58.3% of their home games. They've been favored in a lot of those. San Antonio, now this is a big number, right? San Antonio, though, 45.5 in terms of a cover rate on the road this year, so not all that tremendous. I will say, if you look at San Antonio and gave them a +9 over their last 6 games, they'd be 5-1 ATS. But that doesn't really count, right? Like, they've been favorites in some of those games, beating Portland twice, beating the Hawks. So it's like, that's not exactly the best way of looking at it. This realistically is me saying I don't want to get in front of the Knicks right now. Keep an eye on the final plays to see if we do ultimately end up rolling with it. But as of right now, I am leaning Knicks minus the points, as well as a slight lean to the under. I've seen seen this move in the direction of 223, which is telling me that to some degree I'm on the right side here. And even looking at the money, it looks like the percent of the public bets are 65% on the over, but in terms of money behind those, actually 55% is on the under. So yeah, following the money in this case. Now I do have a couple player prop spots that I'm liking here. We'll jump over to the outlier screen. If you guys want access to this, check out the link in the description. You get 7 days free of my favorite player prop research tool. My first one's going to be Mikal Bridges over 17.5 points. He's been cooking as of late, right? Look at this. Over his last 10, averaging 20 plus points. Head to head, it's not going to look all that tremendous. Now, that being said, he shot pretty poorly in both games against San Antonio last time he played. He was on the Nets back when this happened, right? So you could see here, 33% against them last 2 times last year. He's shooting 49% from the field this season, and in the last 10 games, he's shooting 56%. So I do expect him to be able to get up over this number if we were to be smart in this sense, because that is a high number. You're not going to get, like this is an inflated Mikal Bridges line because he's been doing so well. If we were to really get smart with this one, which isn't always our strong suit, but I'll talk about it here. I like Mikal Bridges in some sort of a same game parlay or even just a parlay piece of like 15 plus points. If you give me that over 14.5, look at that. That looks a lot better. Even the game against Toronto, he only shot the ball 10 times and he had, 14 points, minutes played, 40, which is actually a little bit less than what he had been getting, the night before and whatnot. But I like him over, to get 15 plus points. The odds for a straight bet there are absolutely terrible, but as a little parlay piece, that could definitely be something that we consider. I also took a peek at his 3-pointers prop. He's hit in 3 straight games. You're getting a plus number for it right now, right? Plus 105. And the reason, I guess I haven't really talked about why I like Bridges. This is a Spurs team that has struggled. They haven't, not consistently struggled, but has struggled in terms of defending the perimeter and also the mid-range. So I like Mikal Bridges. He leads the team in mid-range attempts per game over the last 10. He's shooting, 3 or so mid-range attempts. But then if you also look at him from the corner threes, he's number 2 in line. He's number 4 in line from above the break 3. So he's kind of the hybrid player that will score in the mid-range as well as 3, in my opinion. So that's why I like him. I'm also liking a guy that has been coming off the bench here for the Spurs, and I'm going to take a peek, and we'll jump back into the outlier screen. I'm going to take a peek at Julian Champagnie here, over 1.5 threes. You can get plus money behind that run right now as well. Yeah, coming off the bench hasn't really hurt him all that much. He's still averaging 3.1 threes over his last 3. He hit this last time he played the Knicks. Now, it was last season, but the thing that I like here, and if we dive into my dashboard, you can see, okay, well, the Spurs do like to shoot a lot of threes, so Champagnie should get a few. And overall, the Knicks this season, 19th in terms of preventing points from 3, but we look at where they are, the above the break 3, that's a 31%, field goal percentage against. They've actually been decent at that. The biggest weakness is right here in the corners. Julian Champagnie is going to be the guy that's going to be taking those corner threes for the Spurs. So I like that spot for him as well. In terms of how many corner threes he's getting per game, about 2.5 over the last 10 games, but he's also shooting over the last 10 games the second most above the break threes. So even if we don't get the corner threes, he still should be able to attack the perimeter. So that's what I'm rolling with here. Again, I like the under. I like the side there with the Knicks laying the points, but I really do like Mikal Bridges as a parlay piece, and then Julian Champagnie for plus money over 1.5 3-pointers made. I think that's a great line for him, and he had 5 last game. All right, next game up, we're moving on to the Dallas and the Timberwolves game here. Mavericks favored by 5.5. The total right now sitting at 221.5. This Dallas team is playing really well. Meanwhile, Minnesota kind of in a little bit of a slump. Now, they did, they dropped 3 straight games, both straight up and against the spread. 2 of those were home games, 1 was on the road, and I will say that it's not the easiest of runs, right? They had to go through New York, I just said, I don't want to get in front of them. Golden State, obviously, is a good team, and I think Golden State just kind of has their number. They've beat them 2 straight times now. And then Atlanta, and this Atlanta team still is playing decent basketball. But the Mavs, on the other hand, are 8-2 so far in their last 10 games, 7-3 against the number. The one concern is that the Mavs' strength of schedule, listen to this. They've played Utah, Portland, Memphis, Washington, Toronto, OKC, Golden State, Clippers, Portland. They've played Utah, they've played Washington, they've played Toronto, they've played Portland twice. There's some teams in there that you're like, do we really put a lot of weight into these wins? And the one thing I'll say is that there is something to be said about, last time they played Portland, right? And they beat them 132-108. So that's what you should do to a bad team. I'm going to lean towards the favorite in this one. Give me the Mavs at minus the 5.5 points. They're just playing a lot better basketball. This is one where I can totally see, if you're watching this right now and you had written down or you thought or you're waiting for me to say Minnesota plus 5.5, I'm not trying to talk you off it. I do see a few lanes to Minnesota, but let's start with why I like Dallas. So obviously Minnesota is living and dying by the 3 to some degree so far this season. Dallas is a top 10 team in terms of perimeter defense, and they can also score in the paint. They're not doing it at the craziest frequency, but they will elect to score in the paint. So while they might shoot a decent amount of threes and then they're going to get to the paint, they're not one-dimensional, and I think Minnesota is. Now, Minnesota is also a very good perimeter defense, so that could be huge. You have guys like Luka, Kyrie, Clay, they're going to account for a lot of threes, right? So Minnesota might be pretty damn good at stopping that. But when you talk about points in the paint, that's where this Minnesota team has started to struggle this year. And this is a Dallas team that, like I said, the frequency isn't necessarily there, but the numbers in terms of points per game are. They're very efficient in the paint. 71% field goal percentage for over the last 10 games in the paint. And on the season, the 5th most points in the paint. So I think Dallas wins this one in the paint and by kind of giving Minnesota a hard time on the perimeter. Give me Dallas minus the 5.5 points. I like the under as well. Like I said, if Dallas's key to success here is going to be scoring 2s and stopping Minnesota from shooting their 3s, then I like the spot. Dallas also has a very good transition defense this season, under a 50% field goal percentage against when in transition on defense. And this is a Minnesota team that obviously can run. They don't elect to run all that much, but if they do run, Dallas should be able to stop it fairly well. So yeah, give me the under as well as Dallas. A couple player prop spots that I'm looking at. Tough because I said I wanted to target that in the paint and, at the rim and whatnot. I like the idea of Derek Lively over points and rebounds, and I also like the idea of Daniel Gafford points and rebounds. The concern here is that which one do we pick, right? Like, how are we going to go about deciding if it's a Daniel Gafford day or if it's a Derek Lively day? Like, their minutes have been, somewhat, I guess you could say, skewed towards Derek Lively, but there'll be games where obviously Daniel Gafford has some big games, and look at him against Minnesota. This one being this season. Now, he did play 20 minutes, which is kind of his average as of late, but he's hit it in 5 of his last 6 games here against them. Derek Lively, on the other hand, you go head-to-head, not as consistent, still 4 out of 7, so 57%, and his minutes are a little bit lower than he's been playing, so I like both of these guys for points plus rebounds. I just have to, now I have like the conundrum to tinker who's it going to be, because I don't really want to take both of them, but maybe we already talked some same game parlay action with the Spurs and the Knicks. Maybe there's some opportunity here to take both of their numbers down in terms of points plus rebounds and whatnot and put them both in a same game parlay, because they both should get obviously 20 minutes of run, I would assume, and stuff like that. And if they both are giving efficient minutes while in there, they should be able to kind of get some numbers. And yeah, I guess if we were to say, okay, well, let's go over, and this is kind of crazy, but just to make the example of it, right? Let's look at both of these guys. We'll flash back into Outlier and make sure we set the alternate lines. So this is just fake numbers right now, but if we said over 9.5 points plus rebounds, so 10 plus points plus rebounds, Gafford's hit it in 83% of games this season, and Gafford's hit it in 93% of games this season. Lively's hit it in 83%. So maybe there's some manipulation of the numbers that we can do there, because again, I'm kind of like shaking in my boots being like, I like both of these guys' spots, but also it's like, which one do we choose? And you throw in the fact that you might be thinking this as you watch it. You throw in the fact it's like, well, it's Luka, it's Kyrie, it's Clay. Like, stars like to show up on Christmas Day, right? So are these guys really going to get the love and attention and even shot attempts and whatnot that they deserve? Maybe not, So that is where I like it in terms of the game scheme. But I can totally see someone being like, but Luka's going to shoot double the amount of shots he has been shooting. I get that, but that's where I'm at as of right now. All right, guys, before we do go any further, I wanted to give a shout out to Sleeper. I have a couple of the deals going on right now, but this is not all. They're dropping so many promos on their app, but let's talk about what we have on the screen, guys. Sleeper picks. For this Christmas Day, they have a Wemby Square, 0.5 points. I know I didn't mention him in player props when we talked about the Spurs and the Knicks, right? But how could you not take Wemby 0.5 points? Pretty much a freebie. His normal line is at 25.5, and I've been saying it for a couple weeks now, right? They have their best sign-up offer that they've had to date going on right now. Play $5. Place a $5 lineup. Get $55 back. It's an absolute no-brainer. You 11x your moolah just by placing a $5 entry as a new customer. So go ahead and check it out. That link will be in the description as well as the pinned comment, whichever one is easiest for you. And like I said, they're going to have a ton of other promos going for Christmas, for the holidays, both NFL, NBA, all that stuff, guys. Make sure to check out Sleeper. If you're like, well, what the heck is Sleeper? It's essentially a player prop app in which you pick higher or lower based on player set projections. You put them into a lineup. The more you win, the more you get paid out. And speaking of payout, it's really cool what Sleeper does. Each and every play that you throw into your slip has its own dynamic multiplier, and it changes the payout of that slip. So very unique. A lot of other apps just follow a fixed payout structure, right? Not Sleeper. Go ahead and check it out. That link will be down below in the pinned comment. I've been using Sleeper for years now. If you sign up, you will not regret it. And I don't know if there's a better time to do it. You're going to get tons of promos. You get the free pick and that play 5, get 55 deal going on as of right now. Go check it out. That link will be down below. All right, Celtics taking on the Sixers. Now, the Celtics are my favorite team out of all sports. So allow me this one time. I usually tell you I'm not going to be biased and all that. It's Christmas. Let me be biased one time. Give me the Celtics minus the 10 points. Definitely a strong chance of being a final play here. But overall, I do think that even if I were to not be biased, I like this spot. Jared McCain out for the Sixers. Embiid's probably going to play. Drummond's going to play. I know that they had a lot of weird stuff go on in that Spurs game with ejections and then the ref being like, I effed up, and Drummond comes back. Like, it was kind of a head scratcher, right? So the Sixers have a lot going on right now. They did just beat San Antonio, so good for them, but they have not been a great team this season. Now, yeah, they've been injured, they've been hurt, so I totally do get that, but on the road here, they haven't been the best cover team, just a 46.2% cover rate, and I don't see a spot. And that being said, the Celtics aren't the great cover team, but they're usually laying double digits like this. But again, maybe there's a little bias in this one, maybe, just maybe, but I don't really see an angle as to where the Sixers are better in this one. Could it potentially be that, the Celtics have such a gaping void in terms of defending the paint? Like, that might be the case. So sure, Embiid, Maxey, all their good players are able to and like to get to the hoop. So I understand that, right? But even still, like, the Celtics should be able to shoot on this Sixers team, even though the Sixers' perimeter defense has been fine. But the Sixers, I talked about the Celtics' lack of presence inside. It's not like the Sixers are all that great down there either, right? So to me, there's no real spot in which the Celtics are the worst team. They should have by far and away a better offense. Even if we look at offensive efficiency numbers for the Sixers this season, 27th in the league. So the fourth worst. Celtics, third best. In terms of points per game, the Sixers have been scoring lately. 111, 99, 108, 121. Okay, that was against Charlotte. 107, 108, 102, 102. Those are the last 8 games. The Celtics should be able to put up more points than them. Now, I say this after the Celtics just scored 104 against the Magic a couple nights ago. I understand that, but like, when you think about the Celtics and how many points they can score and have been scoring this season and whatnot, yeah, I think the Sixers are going to need to score more than I think they're averaging like 110 per game. I think they're going to need to score more than that. So I like the Celtics in this spot. I might just go with the Celtics team total over because I do think that they bring it. And obviously, this is the Celtics on Christmas. Tatum should be get going. Embiid should get going. So I like the idea of an over to some degree too. There's a lot of star power in this one. I think the TD Garden is going to be rocking. So yeah, give me the over as well as Celtics minus 10. But I like the kind of hybrid approach there of the Celtics team total over. In fact, let's use Outlier and see exactly what that team total is at now because we didn't look up that before. So Celtics team total over 114.5, I really like. That might be a nice spot here. In terms of how they've done with that against the Sixers, yeah, take a peek at this. So Outlier's not just for player props. 114.5, 1, 2, 3 games in a row, they've hit the team total over there against the Sixers. Let's take a peek at the actual game over, because again, I don't mind that either. 122, head-to-head. All right, in the last 4 games here, half and half. What about when the Celtics are at home? All right, so it's half and half both ways. Yeah, I think the Celtics team total just became my favorite play in this one, and we didn't even have the number beforehand. Go Celtics, my favorite team. In terms of player props, like I mentioned, I would target both teams in the paint here. So from the Celtics standpoint, I don't know if, I love this because even when they can get to the paint, will they? But I would look at like Jaylen Brown, probably on his points because he's more likely to get to the paint. And then from the Sixers standpoint, I already kind of mentioned, you're going to have Embiid, Maxey. Those are obviously the obvious names, I guess. But KJ Martin should play in this game as well. And I think he's going to score a decent amount in the paint. But it's Christmas. This is probably a Embiid, Maxey, or Jaylen Brown type of a game. And then if you want to get, talking Celtics again, it's probably Jason Tatum added in. would you look at that? I just named the 4 best players in the game, right? So player prop wise, this one's kind of stacked and it seemed a little too square, to be honest. Real quick, guys, I wanted to let you know that our merch has been flying right now, and I do truly appreciate it. If you haven't picked up any yet, like the Money Tree and the Guy Boston, now we got tons of stuff live right now, and a lot discounted as well. Make sure to head over to GuyBostonSports.com/store or FadeMe.store. I'll also put products in the YouTube merch bar, so it's super easy for you guys to find that. But we got amazing quality over there at great prices, and I keep telling you guys, and while being appreciative, I do kind of peel back the curtain and let you know that merch is not like the moneymaker, the cash cow. We put a lot of dollars into the merch business so we can produce good products. So just FYI, if you're ordering something, it's going to be good quality. So check it out, guys. GuyBostonSports.com/store, GuyBostonSports.com/store, GuyBostonSports.com/store. It'll take you over to the Fade Me site with a redirect, but I'll also just put those products in the description as well as the YouTube merch bar so you can get to them easily. But yeah, if you guys do want to check it out, would be much appreciated. We have been crafting up some amazing stuff, and the samples for some future drops are awesome as well. So go ahead and check it out. This stuff gets me truly excited. When I see my phone light up with the sale and whatnot throughout the day, I'm like, let's go. So yeah, if you want that reaction, go check out the merch. All right, next up, we're looking at Golden State taking on the Lakers here. Golden State favored by 3.5 at home. That total is sitting at 225. I've seen this thing move around to 4, and then also the total move to 225.5. I like the under in this game. We could start there. I think that there's multiple ways that Golden State can kind of, put their thumb on this Lakers offense. So maybe even a consideration for the Lakers team total under. But it's LeBron James, and it's Christmas, and you know he's going to want to show up, right? So that's kind of a hesitation. But overall, the Lakers, really, their offense hasn't been looking all that great. I mean, they just lost to Detroit, you know what I mean? And we cashed their under twice in a row against the Kings. So we do have a decent read on the pulse of this Lakers team. And sure, they're going to want to score in the paint, but they're going up against Golden State, who won the season, allowing the second fewest points per game in the paint here. The one thing that I say about the full game under is that Golden State loves to shoot the 3. Last 10 games here, 6th most above the break 3s taken per game. And then in terms of the season, 4th most points from 3 made, right? Well, the Lakers 12th in terms of how they've been playing this year of points per game allowed. So Golden State's going to want to get into the paint and whatnot in terms of, being able to get their edge here. And they should be able to win that defensively, but then also offensively. So I think Golden State, even if they do play well or the Lakers play well, this one kind of slows down. We're counting by 2s, and then we might not see the most efficiency out of the away team here. So yeah, I do like an under. In terms of the side, yeah, I guess based on what I just said and how Golden State should be able to play really well defensively, I think I would lean towards an under here in this spot. A Golden State home team lean in this spot. My one concern is we're 4 games in now, and your boy is loving the favorites on this Christmas Day slate. That being said, it is Christmas, a lot of excitement, and, the home teams are going to be hooting and hollering and the fans and whatnot. So whatever, put each game in a vacuum, but you guys know how it goes if you just lean every single favorite and want to bet it, right? But overall, give me Golden State. In terms of where I'd go with a player prop, I'm eyeing Jonathan Kuminga right now. He had 26 last game against Indiana, and he leads the team in points in the paint and points in the restricted area. Not points. Field goal attempts per game over the last 10 games there. So I like his spot. Last time he played the Lakers, he only had 8 points. He shot the ball 8 times. So not the best from him, right? That was last season, so take it with a grain of salt. The time before that, he had 23 points in 31 minutes of play. So as long as Jonathan Kuminga gets the minutes, which I don't know if he necessarily will, his minutes have been up and down lately, but if he plays 25 minutes, I like him in this spot. And in fact, if we jump into the outlier screen here, you can see Jonathan Kuminga, when he plays 26 or more minutes, only 2 games this season in which he did not hit it. So I really do like this spot. When he's played 26 minutes against the Lakers, he's hit it in 2 straight games. So over 14.5 points for Kuminga is probably a look for me in this one from a player prop perspective. All right, last game of the slate, guys. If you made it this far into the video, I did just want to say thank you so much. And let me know your best Christmas gift you ever received as a kid down in the comments. I think for me, geez, I have to think about this one. I don't even really remember it because I was so young, but I know when Tickle Me Elmo, and a lot of people, I guess, that are old enough to remember this, when Tickle Me Elmo first came out, it was like the hottest thing ever. I believe my grandmother bought it in like July, and my mom's told me the story. And then everyone in my family was like, "Why'd you get it so early?" And she's like, "They're saying it's gonna be the biggest gift ever." And when you know it, come Christmas time, it was impossible to get. But I got to Tickle Me Elmo that year, so thank you, Nana, for that one. But yeah, let me know in the comments what your, I guess, most memorable or something like that Christmas gift you ever received. If you want to let me know the best one you ever gave, go for it. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you made it this far. But I did want to say thank you, guys. I know I said at the beginning of the video, but truly, truly from the bottom of my heart, I'd say thank you a lot, but I don't think you can ever say it enough. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And just reflect on, everyone should be reflecting on their lives right now, being like, yeah, look at this. Like, you know, people that aren't here anymore with us, we're thinking about them. People that are here are with us, families, friends, loved ones. Like, everybody has stuff to be super appreciative of and love in their life. So yeah, smell those damn roses, all right? Smell those damn roses. Comment roses if you made it this far too. But let's dive into this one. I'm rambling. I'm getting sidetracked. I'm talking Tickle Me Elmo out here. Let's get back into this one here. We got the Suns taking on the Nuggets. We just saw this matchup a couple days ago when the Nuggets won 117-90. Now, that being said, we did see no Devin Booker in that one. He is a game time decision in this one. Jamal Murray's also listed as a game time decision. So two major factors, obviously, for both teams here. So we'll keep our finger on the pulse and eye on that. In terms of what I like here, I don't mind an under. It's set at 234 now. I don't exactly know why it's all the way up there. It makes me a little nervous that we're looking at an under, but we did just see these two teams play, and they scored, 207 points? Like, that's a long ways from 234. Now, we do have a Suns team that is at home. They're obviously going to play a little bit different, but they actually play better defense to some degree, or at least a slower pace, I should say. That's a better way of putting it, when at home, in terms of allowing less points here. 40% of their overs have hit, so 60% to the under when they are at home this season. I don't mind that spot for, 234, 233 and a half, 234 and a half, whatever you can get it at, I don't mind it. This Denver defense is starting to maybe shape up to some degree, right? But overall, like, why would they run on them? They didn't need to run the lights out of the place to beat them a few nights back. So, yeah, give me an under in this spot. I expect somewhat of a decent matchup. I can also see it going over. I know you guys hate when I say that, but, like, think about the players we have. Murray, Jokic, Durant, Beal, Booker. Like, if those guys give you 20 themselves, that's 100 points just from those guys. You know what I mean? If I did my math there correctly. But either way, I do like the under. That's probably one of my main looks in this one. In terms of a side, Denver has been playing, up and down basketball. They're 6-4 in their last 10, but 5 of those 6 wins have come in their last 6 games. So they're starting to look a little bit better, whereas Phoenix, it's like if they have one injury, it hurts them so much. So, yeah, full-strength Phoenix team is a different animal. I will say that. But to me, I still think it's worth considering Denver overall. So I guess I lean towards yet another favorite in this one. Give me Denver, but I think I like the under a little bit more. And then in terms of what we have from player props, I got nothing for you right now. If we do add anything, I'll add it to the final plays and give you a little blurb as to why I like it. But I want to know if Jamal Murray's playing. I want to know if Devin Booker's playing before I touch anything. I even mentioned how different the Suns are when Devin Booker doesn't play or any of those guys don't play. And same thing, I want to know if Murray is good to go. Now, couple spots, if it helps you guys out in your decision making, I can talk about here is that this is a Phoenix team that does not stop and cover the paint all that well. So who would that scream? Yeah, we'd probably look at Jokic, right? Now, in that game that he just played against them, he had 32 points, and that was in, I want to say it's like less than 30 minutes. So he should be pretty damn efficient against the Phoenix team. In years past, he's hovered right around like 26 points, but 32 last time he played. This is the Suns team that does not stop the paint all that well. On the Suns side of things, I think you could also target, looking at the perimeter. Like, this has not been the best perimeter defense of Denver, and also the mid-range, which Beal, Booker, Durant, all of those guys can live in the mid-range. So yeah, that's sort of the direction I'd go in. I'd kind of get closer to the hoop with Denver, and then I guess further away from the hoop with Phoenix. Hopefully that information helps you guys to some degree. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I've said thank you a lot. I know it, and I truly am thankful. I appreciate you guys. And yeah, we got tons of content coming out here, working over the holidays, which we'll still have our time for drinks and food, family and friends and all that good stuff. But we're grinding out here, and I wouldn't want it in either way. So I do appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.